What's good, world? We're back. We're missing somebody. Gino will come in a little bit later, but
Yeah,
we're back.
he's
We're
doing
just
some
chopping
things.
it up on the back end, talking about it
It's been a
ourselves.
minute.
2 weeks has felt like a minute. It's good to finally talk some football, though.
It really is, though. Especially coming the last couple of weeks we've just had as Jets fans. I mean, I don't know if any other team really won on their bye week the way the New York Jets won on their bye week.
Oh,
Because wow,
that 5 week damn near went perfectly. I think the only one that I heard anybody really saying they felt some kind of way about was the Bills Patriots game. And then
I
I think
mean,
there's another AFC team that won, but
the Patriots winning it the tiebreaker with us, but they're not gonna win many more games, bro. Like I don't know how they pulled off that win against the freaking Bills. I mean, I'm glad they did it. I still hate the Patriots. I was very, very conflicted watching that game. Whereas the Patriots, I have a level of despise and hatred for that rivals nothing, nothing else. I don't think I have hatred for anything else like I do for the Patriots and their fan base. But the Bills, in the same token, a fan base that's never really achieved anything, arrogant mode. Like they act like they won. They act like they should be Patriots fans, who at the very least have won Super Bowls to confide in their arrogance to kind of make it worthwhile. But at the end of the day, I was rooting for the Bills to lose, vice the Patriots to win, and that's exactly what happened. The Bills lost. The Jets are a game and a half back from the first place in the AFC East because the Eagles wind up beating the freaking Dolphins last night and slowing down that up. That offense only scored 10 points. People are going to say it was 17. No, there was a defensive touchdown. That elite offense only scored 10 points last night.
I was looking at it and kept trying to refresh my ESPN because I'm like, no, this got to be
It's
like
it's a glitch. This can't be right.
Man, the way they was working the NFL the first couple of weeks. I was like, this everybody's going to have their game, but that's a huge drop from what they was putting up.
100%, bro. 100%. And I think what it made me realize last night is I'll be the first to admit that I've been talking from jump that the AFC East before the Aaron Rodgers injury was going to run through New York or through Miami. I felt the Buffalo Bills window had closed and these guys were frauds. They've been frauds for a while now, and people just love to see the big games every now and again that a Josh Allen puts out there. But for me, the Miami Dolphins offense worried me. I thought their defense would be a lot better than they are with the addition of Vic Fangio. But man, the defenses continue to suck. But that offense that, like you said, was lighting up the league before against two teams that have top 10 defenses, they've been held in check. The Bills and, of course, the Eagles last night. So I'm feeling much better about the Jets' chances of going toe-to-toe with the Miami Dolphins on Black Friday. How do you feel about it?
Yeah, I've chilled out a lot. I still have concerns just because I know, especially early in the games, we tend to come out slow and we could be a very reactive defense before we piece everything together. So if we see like another Chiefs, 17-point first quarter type situation when we play the Dolphins, I'm going to have some concerns early until we see a little bit more from Zach Wilson. But yeah, the defense is kind of underwhelming for me. I think they're just taking advantage of being so far ahead of teams that, they look a lot better on paper than they do, when you actually check out the film. They're vulnerable. Seeing the offense be held the way they've been held in, 2 games so far this season gives me a better vibe for, if nothing else, a competitive game. Right now, though, I still think our defense has the clear edge over pretty much everybody in the NFL, and that's always a huge advantage for us. So get to it, a play out of his scheme
Comfort
and the
zone.
timing that he likes.
Yeah.
It's going to get ugly.
Yeah. I think our defensive line is going to be our biggest advocate on winning that game. I still think we wind up splitting with the Dolphins. I think they'll win at home. We'll win at home. But that's huge. And I think we'll sweep the Bills. I look at the Bills, man, and I don't see a team that any of us should be concerned about. That defense already has Josh Allen's number. And I think you're going to see a better product. And it seems like freaking even Zach Wilson seems to play decent games against the Buffalo Bills. So
Yeah.
I feel ridiculously confident the Jets are going to sweep the Buffalo Bills this season. And I do believe we wind up getting that last win against the Patriots at the end of the season.
So
But man,
what is that? 4-2?
4-2 in the AFC East. That's that. No, 4-3. No, 3-3.
Yeah, four.
Because we're going to split.
You got your
Yeah,
question.
3-3. Because we're going to split with the freaking. No, what's wrong with me today, man? Yes, you're right. 4-2. Because we're going to split with the freaking Dolphins. We're going to beat the Patriots in the last one. We're going to sweep the freaking Bills. So we'll only lose 2 games. You're right. You were right. My bad. It's been a while. We're still getting acclimated to being back on live with everybody. Just work with us. But yeah, 4-2. I really think that's what we're looking like in the AFC East. And I think we got the best defense in the AFC East. I think the running game is still trying to go ahead and work through some kinks. I'm hoping we start seeing more of Izzy out there, because I think that we're missing out on that additional home run ability he brings to the table. Yeah, man. I mean, Dalvin Cook being on the trading block, I think this means Izzy's going to be getting some more time. Hopefully, it only makes sense.
You picking Izzy over MC for running back too?
Yes. I think at this point, look, man, MC, I love the kid, love the character, but he hasn't been the same since year one, where we all thought we had ourselves a bona fide like RB1. It seems like he's kind of fallen off of a cliff as well. I thought last year the injuries might have slowed him down a little bit, and we haven't really seen much from him this year. We've seen some drop passes, critical drop passes that have hurt this offensive drives. He doesn't seem to have the burst he did. He used to be able to make people miss. The first person always missed. That hasn't been the case this year. He seems to be getting hit by the first person and going down. I don't know, man. Love MC, but at the end of the day, this is football. This is a short window specifically for our running backs, and I want to see what Izzy can do. At this point, we saw in the preseason he was balling out. I think I'm ready to go ahead and say, you know what, let's just see what this guy can do, because I think the run game is going to need to be better than what it is right now for us to go ahead and continue in the trajectory of having a shot at taking over the AFC East.
Yeah, ultimately, I think Breece Hall still needs that presence that can, take 10 to 15 hits off of him a game, because I don't want him wore down. It's early. The bye week came at a pretty good time just to get the team healthy overall. Yeah. But if we do end up leading with more leads like we expect to, especially with some of these opponents coming up, these weaker defenses, we're going to be trying to run the ball more anyways. And so it's good to get DC out of there, whether he's inactive, we trade him, he just takes a huge back seat. Doesn't matter so much, but I'm stuck on it. I know earlier in the season, I wanted Izzy to be RB2 for sure. Closest clone to Breece Hall's athletic ability out there. And even if you don't have skill, running being able to hit the hole, timing, all that kind of stuff, you can get by with your athleticism in the running back department. But I still kind of feel like we're seeing some of those flashes. It's just been very limited touches from Michael Carter from what we saw when we thought he was going to be a running back one, when we didn't think we had a shot at a Breece Hall. So he's also a little bit more of the dual threat presence. So the idea there is that you can kind of do a little bit more with them red zone, out of red zone. But I think you can't really go wrong. Dalvin Cook was really the bad ingredient in that room that was souring the product.
We all kind of knew he had lost a step. Like, I don't think any of us, watched his tape last year and thought, man, he's gotten more explosive. We all kind of knew he lost a step. But we thought we were going to at least get 80% of what he was last year. I kind of feel like the Le'Veon Bell thing all over again, right? Like, you saw what he was doing and what he could potentially be, and you got 20% of that, maybe.
Le'Veon Bell still felt different too, though. I think that was just a situation where you could clearly get a sense that Adam Gase didn't want Le'Veon Bell, and so he had no idea really how to use him in an offense, which is weird as hell for one of the best running backs in the NFL. Yeah. Dalvin Cook just doesn't look like he has anything in his legs. He's soft. He's ready to touch the ground the moment the ball gets in his hands. Yeah. He's already fumbled, I think it was twice. For us. So it's just been bad all the way around. Like it was hard for me to think anybody was going to come in and look worse than James Robinson, and then Dalvin Cook shows up.
Surprise.
So only the Jets.
Yeah, it's infuriating, man. Especially because when we first got him, I think one of the things I thought was an invaluable component was we were keeping him away from the Dolphins, right? We thought, oh man, great, that's the one less weapon the Dolphins are gonna have, and when we stole one from them, haha, in their face, right? Then their dude Devon Achane decided he wanted to go ahead and show off, and then you're sitting there like, damn, we just overpaid Dalvin Cook, this bum, with the at least thinking we kept him out of the hands of Miami. And in all actuality, I wish Miami had him. I wish that Miami had him because it'd be a slower component to their offense. But no, it didn't work out that way, man. Like Dalvin Cook is definitely it's frustrating to see it explode that way. But at the same token, man, I'm not mad at the fact that Joe Douglas took a swing. They took a swing at a playmaker, somebody who's played at a high level, multiple time Pro Bowler. I think it was averaging 1,000 yards a season until now. I'm certain, right?
Last 4 years.
Yeah, right. So this is a guy that they took a swing on, and it's looking like it's going to be a miss.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, you can't hit on everybody, and I think for what it's worth too, Joe Douglas's his free agency classes look a lot better if you take out the injury aspect from what's happened with a lot of the guys he's picked up too. Like I was seeing some the other day, like specifically with the offensive lineman, everybody trashes him for us not having a top tier line. But if you look in the guys he was bringing in, a lot of them were proven or they had high upside, and you have these freak injuries from guys that aren't labeled as injury prone guys. So it's like, what do you want to do if 5 out of every 7 guys he signs, ends up on IR because of some, injury they've never suffered.
They've never done exactly.
Yeah.
I think the whole hate for Joe Douglas to me is mind-boggling, because I can understand if this was a guy who didn't put the resources into obviously our most gross skill group on the roster, being our offensive line. But this is a man that's put resources into the offensive line. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. Like, he's brought in Pro Bowl caliber left tackle, a Pro Bowl freaking left guard. AVT, I think, is a stud. Right? Mekhi Becton, yeah, the size was a concern, but there wasn't an injury history, and the dude was a monster his rookie year. And then boom, injuries hit. Like, there's just so much to it that I feel like people are looking at and just wanting, it's people that just want to be mad just because they just don't like Joe Douglas. I think some people just don't like Joe Douglas, and they're going to find any reason to hate on him, even though his hits have been, in my opinion, significantly more impactful than, the hits have been more impactful than the misses. They're going to go ahead and say, oh, well, this offensive line is still trash. Okay, well, what would you have him do? Like, some of the people we were clamoring for him to go ahead and draft last year looked like trash also in the NFL. Like, so what are we talking about?
Facts. So along those lines, and what's good, Gino? Welcome in, boss.
Man, it's been a fucking day.
One of those days, huh?
It's one of those days. How's everyone doing? I know it's been a few weeks. Weeks.
We were just talking about it, man. We spent the first 10 minutes just chopping it up backstage. It's just trying to kind of catch back up.
Man, there's so much construction around my house. I had to go from one place to the other, and there you go. But
busy man as always.
Yeah, I agree with you. The Joe Douglas hate is ridiculous, and people just need to move on. But hey, what are you gonna do? People want to find something to complain about.
Big facts. So let's take some internal stock on what we got going on, right? So I've seen some interesting takes at the quarterback position. If you guys are dropping grades on it, where are you going?
Currently with Zach Wilson as our starter?
Yes, sir.
Listen, I'm gonna be the first to say this, and people I'm probably not gonna be the first, but I'm just gonna be real. Zach Wilson is still the hindrance to our offense. There's no ifs, ands, or buts, right? Like, if you watch the All 22 or even just watch replays of the game on TV, you see that Nathaniel Hackett is actually calling some amazing plays. Like people are running open all over the place. It seems like. I think Zach has a couple of issues wrong with him, man. I think mentally he's terrified of making the mistake. And two, he's been told, hey, you've got 2.5 seconds, get rid of the ball. One thing we have seen about Zach is that he is one of the fastest in terms of getting rid of the ball. But I think a lot of times, as that is a good thing, he's missing opportunities for the bigger play, right? Or even the higher percentage play, because he's going to that first read, maybe the second, missing completely the third read, running wide open in the middle of the field. And I think I will be honest about the fact that Zach Wilson has improved dramatically from last year. This isn't like me like knocking on the dude. He's significantly improved, but to improve from underneath the basement to now you're, climbing the stairs in the basement is not a huge step, but for him it is. And when you have a caliber of a defense like this, and the AFC right now looks like it's wide open in terms of a lot of guys, you're seeing the Chargers fall off a cliff. You're seeing Joe Burrow fall off of a cliff. It's like everybody that got paid all of a sudden forgot how to play football. It's open, man. Like there's a chance for us to go ahead and come in here and make some noise. And Zach Wilson has been creeping his way up. I think right now he's the 21st or 22nd ranked quarterback in terms of stats.
21st, yeah.
21st,
yeah.
Right. So if we can get him into that 15 range, I think the Jets can win the AFC East. So this is the same thing we were talking about last year. Had we had average quarterback play with our defense and our running game, we could have won the AFC East. And right now we're a game and a half back from exactly doing that. Right. So if they can clean up the red zone stuff, they can clean up just get, 20% better in the red zone. I think this is going to be disgusting. I think you can see these guys get pretty disgusting. So I'm gonna give Zach Wilson a C- because he hasn't been the reason we've lost games. And that matters, right? I mean, Tua yesterday threw an interception, a crucial interception that kind of ended their ability to come back in that game against the Eagles. Zach did not throw an interception against the Eagles. That mattered. So I'm going to give him a C-, but there's still a lot of room for improvement. I'd like to see him get into C+, B- territory for us to really start feeling confident about what this AFC trajectory could look like.
What about you, Gino? Where you at with him?
Yeah, he's definitely improved a lot from last year. You could see in some of the just how you could see the influence from Hackett, and I like the assistant on the offense too. God, I forgot his name, but they shout him out on Twitter. I just got to bring it up again.
Rob Calabrese?
I think it was. I forgot. But I like. I mean, how do I put this? When it comes to Zach, people always thought, "Hey, season's over," right? But just like what me and Gunny and you have said, any given Sunday, and things can change around. Look at the Dolphins. I think if the Dolphins, they haven't faced against us yet, I think that's going to be one of the true tests for them with our defense, with the pressure wise, and I think it's going to be a great game. And Patriots, I mean, when you're 1-5, 1-6 area, your team kind of goes downhill super fast. And the fact that they won against the Bills, whew, I mean, it kind of give them a little bit of a breath of fresh air for now. But they'll get humbled this Sunday. But I think overall I'm going to give Zach, just by everything with the encouragement from the players and just wide receivers and the coaches, I'm going to give him a solid C. Room to improve. I think it's going to be tough at the end of our schedule, but as it continues to go, I think he's going to continue to grow. And then, like I said, hey, week 12, week 14. What's up, Rodgers? Maybe. Hello, maybe. Hey, come ready.
Okay, I want to go out on a limb right there about that and say I hope that does not happen.
Same.
Listen, I do not want that man coming out here and getting hurt and the whole season next year is wiped out. But I think you're right. I think he's going to force the issue.
Oh, yeah.
But damn it, man.
Here's the thing, though.
I don't want it to happen, but I could see it happen, though.
Didn't we put him on season-ending IR like 4 weeks ago? So I keep getting confused about this whole conversation about him coming back in time for the regular season.
Well, season-ending IR is only, I think it's like 8 games, like half the season. It's 8 games. So it's not like actually a full season. It makes you think it's not a full season. It's like 8 games, maybe it's 10 games, but I know there's a count to it because you can only hold so many, and in terms of how much it costs you on the count, all that good stuff. But it's like not a full season. I believe it's like 8 or maybe it's even 10 games.
For sure, I gotta look into it then.
Well, it's like Cam Akers. You know, he had his injury, came back for the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I'm not for it. Let him get healthy. We'll see what happens during the playoffs. Hopefully, the conversation is Zach Wilson's a quarterback that can actually make his life hell, and give real thought to him potentially not starting, just save him for the next season. But yeah, I'd give Zach Wilson a C minus. I split it off C minus for what we're seeing on the field, right? Obviously, we still have concerns. Call me old fashioned. Like I like my quarterbacks to have a better touchdown to interception ratio, although he's cleaned that up quite a bit. You know, you see the completion percentages improving.
His running ability, all that, yeah.
Yeah, there's obviously a plan with how Nathaniel Hackett is actually teaching him the quarterback position and getting him developed. And, you know, I heard Robert Saleh say today they don't plan on hiding him within this playbook, which was good to hear. But
yeah,
C minus for the on-field production in terms of how do I want to put this? Like improvement or potential category. I would probably put him up there as like a B plus. He definitely looks like a completely different quarterback the last couple of weeks from what we've been introduced to the last couple of years. How about with the running back position though? Because I was struggling with this one. I kept thinking about it. Breece Hall is obviously that top tier guy. Like Devon A-Chain with the Dolphins, he's on some next level efficiency with what he's getting done. But realistically, Breece Hall is leading the league. But I'd say A minus as a unit overall. We know what Breece Hall is doing. He's dominant. But we haven't really introduced Michael Carter. We haven't really introduced Izzy.
Yeah.
We've been struggling through Dalvin Cook. And so the two extremes on either side, I'll probably settle with an A minus. Although realistically, I want to say like B or B plus.
I think there's more room to come for that running back position, because if we do end up trading Cook, Cook even giving him a few touches, he still hasn't released that trigger. And if we're getting excited about 9 yards, just like me and DK have talked about over the past few weeks, and something's wrong. So I think there's still more to come. I would give it an A minus as well. Breece has been carrying us. I think he's going to be comeback player of the year by the end of the year as well. I like what Breece is doing, but I still want to see more of Izzy eventually. Carter, if he can correct the drops. But yeah.
I think the running game, it's Breece and Breece alone, right? But if Breece doesn't have an opportunity to go ahead and break one loose, you've seen him average anywhere from 2.9 to 3.5 yards a carry. And I think a lot of that falls on the offensive line having to go ahead and gel a little bit. I'm gonna put them at a B minus. I think we haven't even come close to seeing Breece Hall at full potential yet. I think that's not just because of him, but the offensive line is also lacking. And after Breece, man, I just don't have the confidence in Dalvin Cook. And again, Michael Carter shown us some flashes, but is that enough? I really want to get Izzy out there to kind of see if he can kind of offset some of the stutterness that we're seeing from the running game. But when you have a Breece Hall, you can't really be too upset about that. So I'm gonna go with the B minus, only because after Breece, it's just a lot of question marks.
I'm changing mine to B. I just remember Michael Carter has some pretty huge drops for us for a guy that's
B minus. I'll go B minus. Why not? We're all changing it up.
B is solid though. B, like a B minus to B is solid, considering again your running back 2 is the worst guy in the league, and you haven't really seen much from anybody else because you've been trying to get him involved, and you have Breece Hall carrying stuff, and he's still looking like the best running back in the league coming off an ACL injury. So it's probably, I don't want to say it's about as good as we can ask for, but if you committed to expecting this from Dalvin Cook, you at least have to feel good about where things are. So coming out of the bye week, I think that running back room will be interesting. I really do think this might be the game where we see Dalvin Cook be like a healthy and active. I hope if we don't get a trade before then, we'll see.
Yeah.
The interesting one, the wide receiver room.
Oh God.
We have the Mecole Hardman trade. Garrett Wilson's not having that breakout season under Zach Wilson like we expected. Allen Lazard's the big play threat right now. You have Xavier Gibson, who kind of has an undefined role, but we expect to, overtake Mecole Hardman and what he was doing, or at least Randall Cobb. Um,
This plays a lot.
this is probably the one that has the roughest grade for me. I'll put it out there. And it's not all on them. Obviously, Zach Wilson has a huge part of that, but I can't see giving them anything more than a C+.
Yeah, I think you're being generous. Yeah, I think you are, man.
I think for me, it's a C-.
Yeah, I'm at C-, man. I look at, and again, that's being held propped up by Garrett Wilson and the upside of an Xavier Gibson. Like, that's it. It's being propped up by Garrett Wilson and the upside of X. Like,
right.
I don't understand why Randall Cobb's here. I mean, I understood in the beginning he was here as a part of the package deal for Aaron Rodgers. I get it. Made Aaron feel comfortable. But him getting meaningful snaps the way he has, to me, has just been atrocious. I don't know what we're doing. The guy has obviously lost a step. He's had some pretty crucial drops as well. Mm-hmm. Alan Lazard, another person who I think is more of a wide receiver 3 than a wide receiver 2. Like, he's had some impactful drops. Yes, a couple of big plays, but a lot of drops too that have hurt this team a little bit. And penalties that have killed freaking drives. Like, it's behind Garrett Wilson. Again, it's the same thing with the running back room, right? Like, it's a bunch of question marks. And unfortunately for Garrett Wilson, he's starting off a little slower this year than he did last year, right? So I think he's averaging anywhere from 2 yards less per catch this season than he was last year. His yards after the catch have not been up to par as of last year. Again, not saying it's on him. I think that, he's working with what he has, and when defenses don't really respect the other wide receivers, he's dealing with a lot of double teams as a sophomore wide receiver. Then throw in the fact that you've got a Zach Wilson, throwing you the ball, who sometimes is a little too hesitant, or it's a lot. And C-, man. It's C-. I think if there was one thing I would love to see us do before the trade deadline is bring in a wide receiver. I think Hunter Renfrow could be huge. Cortland Sutton could be. I think ever since we lost Corey Davis, this was a concern. I think we all shifted our thought process on our wide receiver room when we lost Corey. And then now we're seeing it full circle. There's not enough guys that can get open at will. I think after Garrett Wilson, the next best receiver on this team is Tyler Conklin. And then after him, I'd probably say it's Breece Hall. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't even think I would put a receiver. It's been frustrating to see, man. We need another wide receiver in here. I can't believe I'm saying this. I really thought we were set there with Corey Davis before he retired, but here we are. And you've seen it over the last several games.
And then it's like, do you even bring in another wide receiver because of the way Zach Wilson has been playing? Are you going to use him? Are you going to use that wide receiver? Because look, I went with Mecole. I understand Gibson took a spot. I get that, but they couldn't even get him going. So is it even safe to bring in another one, be a part of that system, or is Cobb just going to take it over? There's a lot of question marks. There's a lot of question marks with that, especially with Zach Wilson in the system right now.
I think everybody's just kind of playing out of their depth spot, right? Ideally, Allen Lazard would have still looked like a number 2 with Aaron Rodgers. He's at least still showing big playability. But I think a lot of what's impacting the group, obviously dumb penalties. You had the Randall Cobb blindside in the preseason. Allen Lazard is debatable, but whatever.
I mean, that was debatable. It was very debatable, but it's
the penalty is the penalty. Yeah. So you have him. He at least looks like the third down guy for us, though. You see Zach Wilson kind of getting away with some big plays with them there. But you have Randall Cobb, who probably coming in, I think we all seen as like a wide receiver 5, which looked great on paper. Realistically, he's our starting guy now, though, because we couldn't get Mecole Hardman going. So I think the expectation now is that you're hoping a lot of people exceed expectations. You have Xavier Gibson, the UDFA, who's going to have to look like a strong, starting slot wide receiver now. A guy who probably we only expected to return punts. I didn't even think he was going to get kicks. Thought they split that with Mecole, but he's going to have to handle your return unit. He's going to have to look like a legit wide receiver 3 in year 1. And then you have to hope that Allen Lazard can, think his best season was 2018 or something like that. Hopefully, Hopefully he jumps back into that, but it's still shaky. Randall Cobb leading the league, 40% drop rate, which is crazy. Nobody trusts Alan Lazard's hands. Um, we're gonna have to do a lot of looking in the mirror, as Robert Saleh likes to say, in that unit, because the offense is going to have to run through the running backs, and it's going to have to run through the tight ends at this point until we can I don't know. There's going to have to be a breakout game or something like that happens for me to feel really comfortable with what we're seeing in the wide receiver unit. Gunny, question, because I know this came up when I was chatting with some people before for you too, Gino. Would you activate a guy like Jason Brownlee over bringing in somebody via trade?
Yeah, I mean, it can't be worse than what we currently have, right?
Like, what's going on right now?
You know, we saw some flashes in this kid in the preseason. Made some incredible plays against, you know, our secondary in the preseason, which is telling, right? I think at this point, activate him, get him out there, see what the kid can do. Maybe he's one of those guys that just elevates his game to a whole other level. You know, once he's actually in the game, we won't know unless we try. And honestly, there's not going to be a lot of guys that are going to be traded, not for the compensation potentially we would like to go ahead and offer anyway. Is Hunter Renfrow, I think, is one name that I'm really intrigued about, because I know they've already said no about Devontae Adams. They didn't say no about Hunter Renfrow, and that team is trash. They're not going anywhere. Josh McDaniels is on the pitch count before he's getting cut. I think right now a bit of a fire sale is very, very plausible with the Raiders. But in the same token, Denver Broncos, trash, right? Like, I mean,
they're on a fire sale too.
They're fire sale too, right?
Wide receivers are on a fire.
I don't want anything to do with Jerry Jeudy, but I am a big fan of Courtland Sutton. I think that he would be a nice asset to have on this roster as a solid, like a real solid wide receiver too. There's options out there, but if Joe wants to hold on to his draft picks, as we know he loves his draft picks, so be it. Then let's go ahead and freaking activate freaking Brownlee. It cannot be worse than what we've seen from what we currently have starting.
You even put Charles in there, man. Do something. I mean, he's not my number one option, but Brownlee would be the first one. But if you're not going to get a wide receiver, then play with some of these guys that you got. I mean, this has been one of the largest wide receiver rooms we've had in a while. Use them.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of I take a look at, like, when we want to talk situational football, right? What's the best personnel packages that we can roll out there? Like, even before we traded Mecole Hardman, there was packages I put together. I call like speed packages, right? You have your Xavier Gibson, you have your Mecole Hardman. Obviously, you have Garrett Wilson, who's not a slug out there, and then you have a Tyler Conklin, you have a Jeremy Ruckert. If you want to go big, cool. Keep your Garrett Wilson out there. Throw Tyler Conklin or any of the tight ends. Use Jason Brownlee if we're going to activate him. Using Irvin Charles, 6'4". We don't have bums in the wide receiver unit, and I guess that's why it's so disappointing to see. Yeah, we haven't seen a lot of success out of this unit. Regardless of if people are outplaying their depth chart spot, we should be in a much better situation. And again, it's a lot of it's handicapped by Zach Wilson, but we're at least seeing a functional quarterback that's given us functional quarterback play, and he's given a chance for some of these guys to go out there and actually make plays that we haven't seen the last 2 years from them. So hopefully they had 2 weeks to sit down and really nail out some kinks in the offense. Maybe we'll see some changes actually happen here.
Right.
Tight end room we feel good about, though?
Yeah. I mean, Uzama, no, but a Rucker, yeah, and Conklin, just get him more involved. Red zone,
Ruckert
everything
needs more touches. Ruckert needs to be out there with more stuff. Like it's freaking night and day when you're looking at Ruckert and you're seeing CJ Uzama lumbering out there. Like CJ Uzama is not even blocking as well as we expect of him from what he's been in the past. I don't understand that either. Like, again, I know we're not coaches. I know we're fans who watch this game passionately, and we've studied it, trying to get a better understanding of it. But nothing makes sense to me as to why Ruckert isn't out there. He's a willing blocker, not the best, but he's willing, and he's significantly more athletic. He runs cleaner routes. Why is CJ Uzama even going out to catch passes? That to me is mind-boggling. That I don't even understand that. It should be Conklin.
You know what I hate hearing, Gunny?
It should be Ruckert. And Uzama, you can come in there if somebody gets hurt or they need a break. I don't need to see Uzama out there for any meaningful snaps.
And Gunny, you know what I hate hearing all the time, and even I've said it. I'm not saying it anymore. I'm sick and tired of the veteran presence that people keep saying. No, talent over the veteran presence now.
Facts.
Cobb out, Uzama out. Like it's just becoming ridiculous. Even if you bring Brown back on this offensive line, no, you got to go talent first now. I'm sick and tired of hearing that word from everyone now.
It's frustrating. It's extremely frustrating. Like, because we're all, and then what happens is every time you put a record out there and he makes a play and then he's out, you're like, I'm mad. I'm like, what the fuck are we doing? Like, why? It's beyond frustrating. Freaking Uzama. So I'm gonna go with as a C. But that's because of the coaching. It's a freaking C because the coaching is being dumb and they're not putting the talent out there to go ahead and do what they do. Because there should be Conklin out there, Ruckert out there. Hey, Uzama, they need a breather. Go stand out there for a little bit, block or try to block, then get your ass off the field and bring them back out there again. So because of coaching, the tight end room for me gets a C. If not, if they were to utilize these guys properly, I'm looking at a B+. I really like Conklin, man, and I love me some Rucker, dog. Like, I think those guys have their ceilings haven't been touched yet. I think their ceilings are significantly higher than what we've seen. Uzama right now is literally stealing opportunities away from both of those guys, and it's a damn shame.
Sounds familiar with Cobb.
Yeah.
I'm going to give it a C-, guys. C- with the potential to be a B+. I think the only ones that are holding on for that minus part is Conklin and Rucker, because what have we seen from the blocking, especially both of them? What we've seen in the middle with the passes from Zach Wilson, the way he's built the red zone, everything. I like what I'm seeing from Conklin. I want to see more with Rucker. So I'm going to give a C- with the potential to be a B+.
Yeah, I'm in a similar boat. I'm going solid C. You have Tyler Conklin. He's had 3 games of at least 50 or more yards. Last Eagles game looked pretty underwhelming, but he does a lot of great things on tape when like people are going back and checking the all 22. At this point, to what Gunny mentioned, it's more so about the coaching and them the unwillingness to put a guy that's underperforming below the guy that has not only the higher upside, but he's literally playing better than him right now. Jeremy Ruckert, I think right now is the top run blocking tight end, or he's at least up there in like the top 3 or 5.
Yeah, he's one of the top 5, I think it is. Yep.
Yeah.
In the league.
Yes.
Not on the team, in the league.
As a tight end too, like you'd expect, especially if teams don't generally use a lot of 2 tight end personnel, and we are one of them. We like to run our 13s and stuff. You'd expect that he'd have a much bigger presence. So a lot of this falls on coaching. I will say that I'll trust them to get it fixed, especially with Nathaniel Hackett's background. But yeah, on paper, solid C. But we know realistically this should be probably a top 5 unit in the NFL if things are going according to plan.
Yep.
O-line, we're in similar situations again.
This is like everything. It's like
for the record,
it stabs my back every time we have to talk about the O-line.
For the record, they have played better week in and week out over the last 4 weeks. I'll tell you this: Dwayne Brown's ass better not step foot in this starting lineup unless somebody is hurt. I think Mekhi Becton has looked solid, if not great at times, at left tackle. You've seen freaking Tomlinson improve his play with freaking Becton to his left. On the right side, man, it's been a roller coaster. I mean, we lost ABT. Titman got hurt, bro. Like, they're doing their best, and honestly, their best is slightly below average, which is still an uptick from last year. So with the offensive line, because the left side has looked as good as it has, I'm going to give them a C+. It's going to be a C+ for me.
Dwayne Brown, the water boy job is up. So you can go. You can go to that. I'll send you the paperwork later. I think for me, it's going to be a solid C with the potential to be a C+ because just like Gunny said, that left side is solid. I'm glad they moved Becton back to the left side after Brown went down. It's his natural position. And Tomlinson, just like the Trent Williams, man, it's when you put a good person over there that's doing his job, that's going to be elite. And I think Becton will, without all the injuries that he's had, he is good at that position, and they're working together. I love what I'm seeing on left side, right side. It's just, it's injuries, and then we win a game. It's the price we pay for that right side right now, and it sucks. But I think if you're going to put Wes Schneitzer out there, you put Mitchell out there, I think we're going to be okay. But nothing can happen after that. Then sucks. So you got to bring in someone. So I like what McGovern. I don't know what you guys think about McGovern, but he was our weakest link. I felt like for a while there at the center position. But
I mean, he's still operating, believe it or not, as just a slightly below average center. So,
but if you're going to compare what we
I don't like him.
What we had though before the injuries, he was our weakest link.
I haven't liked McGovern the whole time.
Yeah, I know, DK. You guys,
yeah, we know, DK. You hate that dude. You hate that bum.
We know. Now we're getting above average.
Look, before Lakin Tomlinson arrived, it was McGovern, but needed to get to work.
And now it's Lakin. But he's improved though.
Interestingly enough, though, I was surprised. I'm walking away with the highest grade here. I would give them a B-. This is based on what I've seen before.
Even McGovern in there?
Yeah. Even with McGovern. I don't know what the lineup
check your connection. Check your connection. I think I heard that.
It says I'm connected. That looks like DK.
I don't know what the line, coming into the Giants will look like, but yeah, we've seen Lakin Tomlinson. I think the first 2 or 3 weeks looked pretty rough for him, and then he kind of, there's a turning point. I know he had, want to say it was maybe the Broncos game, maybe the game before. Eagles got Kevin Byard from the Titans.
Yeah, from the Titans. Yeah, and 2 draft picks.
I know Lakin Tomlinson had a game where he gave up 0 pressures, which was a huge turning point. I think from that game on, we started seeing much better performances. So he's not locked in. It's not like we're seeing a Pro Bowl caliber guard or anything, but he actually looks pretty reasonably good, being paired up with Mekhi Becton now. Connor McGovern, as we said, he is what he is. He's inconsistent, probably at best, but you could do much worse, and we've seen much worse. The Jonathan Harrison days used to have me freaking pulling my locks out.
True.
So we've been solid there, but I mean, overall, you had your pieces. You had ABT looking excellent as a right tackle. You had Joe Tippmann coming in, and he was performing excellently at guard.
Both of them,
and then you had Lakin Tomlinson turning things around, and you had Mekhi Becton actually winning a lot of battles on an island. So for that 2-week period that we actually had them, they were looking like a top, 15 offensive line with the game plans that we put together. Those are heydays, but still coming off some of those recent performances, I'll say B-. I think we could probably still pull out a C+ grade, maybe moving forward, but it's going to be rough. I think a lot of that's going to be dependent on Joe Tippmann. I'm scared after Robert Saleh's press conference today.
Yeah, he's out for the season. He's out for the season. He just hasn't told us yet.
He's a quick killer, and then we'll hear that he doesn't have legs Wednesday.
Yeah. He's going to be put on freaking season-ending IR pretty much come Sunday. Like, I'm sorry. Like, he said that if he had said they're still trying to figure it out, I'd have felt much better with him saying, like, oh, he's a quick healer. I was like, shit, he's gone. He's gone.
We've known by now with Sal the way he does his press conferences. We're like, oh, shit. Yeah. And then the other ones are like, oh, okay, maybe there's a little hope. And then there's
the thing is, does anybody know when Tippmann got hurt? I know it's a knee, apparently.
Yeah, so he took from what they were saying, and then like Rich Samini had some comments on Jake Hasman's show. So they believe it was a knee to the thigh, and they think it's like what they call it, an oblique contusion or something like that. Yeah. So
Yeah,
from
Barney's
what I
asking thoughts on Tippmann. Yeah, Barney, I'm sorry, brother. I just don't know. We don't know if he's
We
avoided
don't know.
IR. In fact,
Yeah.
I feel like he's more leaning towards IR because Salah said, "Oh yeah, it's quick healer. He looks good." I'm like, "Oh geez,
yeah,
this is bad, man." Until I see him back out there, I'm gonna be nervous. I'll put it.
facts.
I'll be nervous.
Me
That's
too.
really what it is. So Robert
Yeah.
Saleh
The
threw me
weight
off in
gain.
one of his
Yeah.
he had some kind of recent interview in like the last 2 to 3 weeks, and he was saying something like, I know I'm O for whatever on like injury news,
Yeah.
some of it intentional,
Yeah.
some of it, whatever. But I was
You
like,
don't say
man,
that.
you
don't
Yeah.
say that. It's like
you're not helping us out as fans. This mind
like
game you play
Salah,
with
man. We're already on edge every time you talk with that. Like, come
He's
on,
like,
man.
yo, yeah, I remember the Mekhi Becton thing. Mekhi
Oh my
Becton,
God.
yeah, he's day to
God.
day. He should be
Yeah.
back in a couple of
Yeah.
weeks.
No.
A couple of weeks go by, like, well,
month.
hold
Month or
on,
two later.
bit of a set, bro. IR done, season ending. I'm like, you've got to be freaking kid, dog. I can't with him, man. And I love me some Mekhi. I love me some freaking Salah, but I refuse, bro. I'm not letting you do this to me again, dog. To me, I'm embracing for Tippmann being out for the season. That's what I'm embracing for.
Facts. Same. I was my brain jumped to, he has a career ending leg injury. Watch, he has some ridiculously terrible.
Please don't.
Actually, Joe Tippmann needs to amputate a kneecap. We apologize.
Oh my God.
He's retiring from the sport of football, bro. Like,
God.
oh, dude, it's
we can never have nice. Yeah, Robert
We
Saleh.
can't have nice things.
I love the hell out of the guy and what he's done for the culture of this team. But I swear to God, I would slap him in the face.
Yes. Dude, or at least get like a coach, an acting coach or something in here.
Man.
I was thinking about how we could fix this before, and I was like, when it comes to the injury news, they might just want to consider rolling out a representative from the athletic health and performance department and let them give their diagnosis and timelines and stuff.
The way he's like, hey, that's a Joe question, right? This gonna be like, that's the trainer's question. They're up after me. You can talk to the trainer. Because at this point, man, like either he doesn't understand what they're telling him, or he's so optimistic and trying to manifest that it's gonna be okay. He tries to put that out there, bro.
That might be the thing.
He's trying to put it out there, bro.
It's Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde with his interviews giving injury updates.
Oh,
I'm all for it, but yeah, he gives me the most anxiety around 10 o'clock, which it's only an hour after I'm coming in, and it's right after I'm coming out of meetings. So I just my heart is pounding every time.
At 7 p.m. tonight, breaking news.
Only Salah could have us processing like this. Only Salah.
Yeah, and then you got Hackett, his pump up squad. And then I don't know what you do with Olbrich.
Oh God.
Oh, man.
Yeah, he stresses me. He's a stressor for this community.
Yeah, he does.
I wanted to dive into the defense, but I'm running a little bit low on time. So
just give an overall grade on the defense, or no?
Yeah, sure. I mean, without going into too much, they're getting an A- from me.
Yep, same.
Yep,
A-.
I'm at A-. Some people would say A, some would say A+, but I think that there's the whole bend don't break thing happens all too often. And I know, trust me, we know we've won the last couple of games that we've won purely off of the back of that defense. I get that.
Yeah.
But I think expectations for us were 85 Bears, right? Like, again, I'm not saying that to be a jerk, but like the expectation was 85 Bears. We're also, I think, like middle of the pack in terms of sacks on the season. I expected a lot of these guys to eat more. So I think for me, it's not that they're bad by any means, but there's a bar for the Jets defense that I think has been set for us. And right now they haven't hit it yet. I think they're at an A- for me. I do believe they can still go ahead and turn it around and make some things happen, but I don't think we've seen this defense operate at full potential, if I'm being honest. I know that's scary and awesome to say, right? Like, I don't think we've seen this defense at full potential. To think there's another gear that can actually hit. The tale of two.
Oh yeah, no, my bad.
Yeah, it just went off.
It's like a tale of two halves, right? Because on paper we look like a mid defense, right? I think we're 13th in points, 24th in yards. It's really the first half versus the second half. Even the second half, I think the stat got thrown out the window, I think, against the Broncos, where we didn't let up a second half touchdown in however many games, and then we bounced back and we still shut the Eagles and all of those teams out. But if we can even get just in maybe the second quarter to function the way that we do in the second half, you're getting much closer to looking like some version of a legendary defense rather than just a very, very good one, which is the category that I put them in. But literally, when you want to compare Zach Wilson and that offense to what the defense has to account for, you can't overrate this defense, really. Like we realistically had no business being in the Eagles or the Chiefs game with the way that we were functioning before. So
perfectly rated right now.
For what it's worth, though, I think we're second in takeaways right now, which was a huge key for us.
Yeah, but also this time last year, before I think it was 8, we were third in takeaways, and then fell off a cliff on the back end of the season. We couldn't dive on a freaking fumble if it was thrown in their faces. It was bad. So hopefully they can maintain that, and instead of just maintaining that, our defensive line can start turning some of those pressures into sacks. And I think we're cooking with fire. We're grease.
We hit our hard stretch of games though right after like our bye week last season though, right? This time I think we're knocking it out early, so we look like we're in good shape to kind of keep up in that area.
And this defense should start feasting now moving forward, with the teams they're going up against. Like we had the second most difficult stretch of games in the first freaking 6 weeks of the season. The Miami Dolphins had the second easiest stretch of games for the first games of the season, and then now that's flipping, right? Like, so for us, it's flip. For them, it's flipping. For the Bills, it's kind of
it's half and half. Yeah,
it's half and half, middle of the pack. But for us, bro, like we're in a stretch of like this defense alone should smack around some of these guys and get wins, right? The offense is just a luxury if they decide to put it all together.
And after this bye, the last 10 years, we've gone 1-9. That's going to change.
Yeah, it's
100% going to change.
Hey, we were 0-12 against the freaking Eagles. This is a year of change, man. We're going to be all right.
It is.
Resetting history. We could wrap up on
that's a good point,
post bye week expectations. So coming out of this bye week, we know we are facing the Giants. It's the easiest, but we have the Giants up first, and it's definitely the easier part of our schedule right now for the next couple of weeks. So what are we thinking in terms of how we end up performing? I know we crashed last year, but I heard some stuff in the chat before, like somebody thinks we're going to go on an undefeated run. Realistically, we probably only need 7 or 8 games.
That's a little bit of a step, but okay. I like it. I like it.
I love the enthusiasm.
I love the enthusiasm. Keep it going.
And embrace that Robert Saleh optimism.
Put on paper.
Yes.
And post it.
Yes.
And post it.
Man, I think I think we got about 7 to 8 games in these next 11. And in all actuality, and it sounds ridiculous, if the Jets can get 20% better in the red zone, because moving the ball between the numbers, they've been pretty good actually. Penalties have killed drives, but like they've been pretty good. Yeah, we just get to within that 20 yards to the end zone, that gold zone, as they say, and we just can't find the gold. We can't find it. So if they get 20% better, the way this defense is playing and allowing them to actually play with some leads. I'm not gonna lie to you, man. It wouldn't shock me if we went on a run, a ridiculous run.
The only,
But I again, until we see it, we're just kind of going off of what we've seen thus far, and I think because of that, we're gonna see some L's. So I got us 6 to 7 wins on the back end of the season. I got us at 9 and 10, 9 to 10 wins, which could get us into the wild card, but I really believe there's a chance that we can go ahead and still steal the AFC East if we can do that 20% better in the red zone.
10, I think 10, definitely 9 to 10 wins. I agree with you, Gunny. I think the AFC East is up for grab, and I think it's going to be between us and the Dolphins. I can't see the Bills 100%. Doing it, man. I can't. After Milano and White went down, so did that whole defense to me. And also, I just really worry about for the Jets is playing down to the other team's level who we should be smacking. That's what I'm worried about for the rest of these games. Like the Giants, I'm projected we should win 27-17, but realistically, it could probably be a 2017 win over the Giants. But I hope we don't play down to all these guys' level and go on a little nice run. There you go.
Yeah, I think so what? We finished 7-10 last year. 8 wins is getting us into the wild card. It looks like it's shaping out in the AFC to kind of be that same situation. 8 or 9 wins will probably be the entry point for a wild card team. I think we expect to get 7 wins. I think realistically, on the high end, we can maybe walk away with 9. Which what I think that puts us at 9 or 10 wins on the season. So we'll see. To the point that we talked about, I don't think it's unheard of that we couldn't go on an undefeated run. It would just be very unexpected with 2 Dolphins games on the schedule still.
Yep.
So realistically, though, I think the best news is that it seems like we do have a realistic chance to go out there and still win the AFC East division. We've seen the Miami Dolphins stumble, the Buffalo Bills. They look more than vulnerable, and we've already we've already beaten them at essentially our worst on the season so far. And then you have the Patriots.
Yeah.
And unprepared Zach Wilson thrown in there after we just lost our season with Aaron Rodgers going down in 5 snaps. Bro, the fact that we still won that game, I'm baffled by it because there isn't a single fan out there that didn't lose their soul, their energy, their everything watching that happen. For those guys to be able to go ahead and put it all together and still beat the Bills, bro. Yeah. Now we're super.
I still had hope. I'm not gonna lie. I still had hope.
Nah, I
had some hope.
I was done.
My boy was texting me from the game. He's like, "We see people leaving the stadium already. It was snap 4."
Hey man,
wasn't Justin Timberlake there? When it was announced that Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there was a lot of guys there. Jake Paul. There was a bunch of guys there. It was crazy. Machio.
Yeah, they had Jersey.
Ray Romano. There was
Jersey Shore crew. Method Man was up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Hey, listen, for all the Dolphins and Eagles fans, all I gotta say is push tush or tush push, whatever it is.
It was wild to me that we didn't even give them a chance to get in a position for tush push.
That didn't land.
Another.
I thought that would land.
Defensive prowess. I was. Yeah. Apparently they are 6-0 going into the last season when they've had to use the tush push at least twice.
Yeah.
I heard
it's ridiculous right now. Oh my god.
I heard it was the deciding factor in that Dolphins game too for a lot of those drives.
Oh, bro, yeah. You didn't watch the game last night, dog? It was
didn't get a chance to. I was trying to get my boys energy drained.
They did it twice on their side of the field, like on the 19-yard line. They're 19, and they were like, 4th and 1, we're going to go for it. It's so disrespectful, dog, and they got it. Yeah. They went 4 for 4 or 5 for 5 last night. It was –
they didn't do it against us. They didn't do it against
That's that post-Jets rage, yo. They said, we're going to embarrass somebody.
Yeah.
They bullied the Dolphins last night, bro. They straight bullied the Dolphins last night. I was like, wow, 4th and 1 on your side of the field, like – essentially, if you don't get it, the Dolphins are scoring a touchdown. Like that's how bold they were, and they were 4th and 1 on the 19. We don't care. And then they would get 2 or 3 yards every time.
I'm gonna have to catch it today and during
dude, those jerseys, man, Eagles throwback jerseys are nice. Oh,
they look like ours. If you take away the little wings on the helmet,
they look a lot like ours.
I like our old ones too. Bring it back. Bring this logo back. Bring it all back. Why not?
Yeah, I'm with Tigo on this one, man. The fact that everybody's crying about this and wanting to go ahead and ban it, bro. Like, I'm like, this is the epitome of what football is. Like, this is the barbarian level of it. Like, I'm stronger than you. You can't stop me. You can know what I want to do, and it doesn't matter. Like, why would you? Like, I love it. Even if they did it to us and embarrass us, I'd be like, hey, they're stronger than us. That is literally a battle of wills. It's what the NFL is about.
This is how people used to talk about football out here during high school. So we have all these high school teams, and then you had this technical high school team called Gorman, and they could recruit. So they'd have, the people that are 18 and all of that kind of shit that's out there on the field, but they're built like Mekhi Becton. So you're like,
God,
I don't what are we supposed to do? Yeah. You got this freshman walking out that's on the varsity team about to get absolutely crushed.
Teams.
I love it.
I love it too. I personally love it.
I love every minute of it, man.
I would also say the same thing. I would still love it if they embarrassed us and did it to us. I'd have been like, damn, that was a battle of wills.
I was waiting for it.
Step our game up. I thought it was going to come. I was expecting to see it.
Which game? Eagles?
Against us. Yeah, it never happened.
No, they were due for a loss. They were due for a loss.
No. We were expecting to see the tush push. I kind of want to see if our defensive line are the kind of dogs we say they are, because that's really a battle of manly will. I'm going to impose my will on you. I would have loved to have seen it happen, at least to see how our guys reacted to it.
They didn't take it seriously for that, so it doesn't matter.
When I think back on it, I think they probably would have gotten it probably every time, though, because Quentin Jefferson was destroying their guards and center. Yeah. Quentin Williams was doing his normal business. Jermaine Johnson obviously had a ton of huge plays, especially after
Bryce Huff too.
Who's damn, I shouldn't forget his name, especially after Lane Johnson went down and they had to throw in the backup.
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts is a different level of strength at quarterback.
Dude, bro. Yeah, I agree.
I get pissed about that Michael Carter throw to this day. That's ridiculous. Bro, that grown man hanging off half of your body, and
bro, that's very upsetting. That and as Michael Carter, you know. He feels that, man. I literally was a cape on this grown man, and he still completed that pass. And it was like a little dump off, too. 15 yards downfield, strike. Made it look easy, effortless. Bro. Like I wasn't even there. That would hurt me as a grown man.
I was cussing Michael Carter out in my front room, and then I was like, bro, you need to chill. He was there. This is just a different level of playing. Like, oh, my God. He was out, bro. I was coming up with every excuse in the book for why Michael Carter's an idiot. I was like, bro, you should have hit them ankles. You should have
I know.
Like, punch that man. Do something. But you hung on him like a literal cape, and that was
but he didn't want to let go.
I almost turned the game off after that play. I'm not even gonna lie to you.
I thought the game was over right there on that play, bro. I was just like, it's gonna be a long one. This game is gonna be a long one.
We already should have had like 3 sacks that he ran away from.
And he ran away from. And then now, while our fucking cornerback is on his back, he's running and still throwing off platform a strike
out of the game, bro. Oh man! All right, fellas, we gotta wrap this up.
Crap! Yeah, I gotta roll.
Yeah, I gotta roll.
We appreciate y'all coming to kick it with us. We should be back to normal-ish business.
Yes.
I don't think we have anything crazy.
We'll see you next week. We'll be back.
Next week.
Come peep us next week, Monday. We'll be at it at 12 my time,
2 p.m. our time.
2 p.m. Central.
Yeah. All right, y'all have a good one.
Jets.
Enjoy your work days and all that. We out.
Go Jets.
Go Jets, baby.